All right, everybody, and welcome to PWZ. This is Rick. Joining me, as always, is the Greenport Destroyer, Andy. And we have a very special guest today, the Director of Operations of the NAWA, Lou Reardon. Lou, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. Really appreciate you guys inviting me on tonight.
Yeah. We hope to be joined by the Godfather himself, Tony Capone, correct?
Yeah, Tony's scrambling, trying to get out of New York, beating that massive blizzard of the century coming in. So, he's in a corporate office there trying to pack up, get out of there early, first thing tomorrow morning to beat the weather. I'm already in sunny Florida. I enjoyed 81-degree weather today. I was out sitting poolside drinking non-adult beverages and relaxing, enjoying the sights, and just kind of chilling, getting ready, ramping up for Saturday night's big pay-per-view event.
That's right. You guys have a big show coming up, Jingle Brawl. This is your first show back, or the NAWA's first show back. Have you been with them before?
Yeah, I was with him off and on, but I was at Slam Jam '99, the preeminent show. Slam Jam was pretty wild that night.
I had that on VHS as a kid. Or I wouldn't say a kid. I was in my 20s. I shouldn't say a kid. I mean, I guess I am now. I'm 45. So, yeah. So I know Andy's got some stuff lined up to ask you.
Oh, I'm a big Lou Reardon mark. This goes back to my Long Island days. Which is funny because I'm the only geek who would mark out for a promoter, right? Unless it's Paul Heyman. But no, Lou, I go way back to the first time I went to one of your shows. I believe was when you were working for Savoldi's, booking shows for them out in Southampton.
Yeah, I did. I started with them, early '90s, I guess. Kind of by a fluke, and a friend of a friend was doing a show there, and this friend wanted to run a show, raise some money for his organization. Savoldi's were really great doing that. You know, they would come in, run a show. They had some good deals, with fundraising organizations, in the Northeast, and they had some great contacts with Titan Towers at the time. And we went in and talked to them, booked a show, had a great crowd, and as happenstance would happen, the ring announcer no-showed, and I got to pop in as a guest ring announcer. They found out that I was the guy behind getting the asses in the chairs, and they liked the way I did the ring announcing, and one thing led to another. They brought me on ring announcing, and I then went on to become a manager. And
JP Nasty, baby.
Yeah. I had became an alter ego, and managed Primo Carnera, Manny Fernandez, and
all right,
Hercules. I managed Hercules on a bunch of shows, and then I branched out from there. And created Eastern Shores Wrestling.
Right.
And I've actually heard of Eastern Shores. I don't think I've ever witnessed it.
I have, sir.
As Andy knows, I'm a huge Savoldi mark. I growing up, I was a huge ICW, IWCCW fan. It was like the first time I ever discovered wrestling outside of, say, WWF and NWA. Was watching Savoldi's on TV.
Yeah, it was. They had a great program. Savoldi's were great guys. I mean, Angelo Savoldi, to meet him was an honor, an understatement. I mean, he was one of the greats back in the day, certainly. But the Savoldi's, they put on a great show. It was a low cost show. They had some great talent. What I really liked is they created a fan-friendly kind of atmosphere, and that's what I kind of liked about it. So it made the boys, accessible to the fans at the live events, and it just created a real good vibe, and and then you get to, you get more repeat fans coming back then. People enjoy it.
You had a pretty good stream too with Eastern Shores. You did some shows in Southampton. I want to say you did a show. Was it Brentwood or somewhere further in maybe in Western Suffolk or Nassau?
We did. Yeah, we did
a big show.
High school.
Backlund against Tito Santana, and Backlund flipped out because a fan threw candy at him.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob. Yeah, he was a handful.
Yeah, Fatu was on that show, if I'm not mistaken. You had some big names. You promoted some big names, and I got to say, you always had guys like Iron Sheik, Hercules, Tommy Cairo versus Manny Fernandez was a great feud.
Yeah, and we took that feud from some small gyms in Long Island, and we brought them to some gyms over in New Jersey and some small clubs in New Jersey, and where there was no athletic commission, and really had some fun with it over there. And it was a lot of fun over in Jersey when we did some tape knuckle fights with Manny and Tommy there, and just picture the two of them and the damage they can create on each other in a taped fist fight, with just no athletic commission breathing down my neck saying, you can't do that. Well, hey, we just did it. What are you going to do about it?
Now, you bring up a good point with the athletic commissions. I know New York was real strict, and whereas Jersey was wide open.
Yep.
So did that affect your promoting a lot? Like, would you have a show you wanted to book and say, hell, I'm not screwing around with New York, I'm going right to Jersey with it, or what?
Well, yes and no. I knew how the show was going to play out most of the time, and I would strategically have matches occur during the points where I knew the athletic commission wanted to do paperwork, so they'd be occupied while we're wreaking havoc out in the gym. It's all about timing in this business. If the timing is right, you can get away with a lot, and it's all about the fans. If the fans want it, you just do what you got to do to make sure it happens.
And Rick, I'll let you have your show back in 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm marking out.
You're
here.
good, mate.
But one more question, Lou, and you don't have to answer if you're uncomfortable. But you also used to book a guy by the name of Rockin' Rebel, and we all know his demise came abruptly in a very tragic way. He and his wife. Any comments, maybe not about the situation, but about Rebel as a person and a performer?
Chuck was he was a very dynamic individual. What you saw in the ring with his loud, I don't want to say obnoxious because it's not really the right word, but just his loud, very outgoing personality. That was kind of Chuck out of the ring too, I mean, that's kind of how he was. And when I heard what happened and the circumstances behind it, it was one of those like, because it was kind of one of the last things in the world I would ever think of it happening with him. There's other guys that I would say, with him, no. He was a pretty, straight shooter with me, always with me, and really, it was a true tragedy in my opinion, and I'm very sorry to hear that it had happened. But you can't second guess these things. You can't ever second guess what happens, with people and why they do what they do.
And personal feelings aside, because I know a lot of people who know the story have a feeling one way or the other. Judgment aside, he was truly one of the most talented indie workers I'd ever seen. The guy could work. The guy could work a crowd. His in-ring work was solid. He also came out of that Goodhart, era of Philadelphia. And I thought he could have gone a lot further in the business. Again, in that era, I guess maybe size played a bigger factor. But, hopefully rest in peace to him and his wife, I hope.
Yeah.
Andy, Lou, we were having a conversation prior to calling you up, and Andy wanted to ask if you had ever booked the Metal Maniac. And Andy, I just happened to answer your question. The Metal Maniac is on my television right now in an NAWA ring. So,
Yes.
just I have some NAWA. The funny part is that we were joking around because I interviewed him back in, was it October? And basically the interview went 4 hours. So he wouldn't.
Shocking.
Calm down, Lou. We're not going 4 hours tonight. We're not doing that tonight.
It was one that just would never end.
Yeah. Jeff? Yeah. Shocking.
So it ended, I think we started at 10 o'clock at night, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was like, hey, I got to get out of here now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Great guy, though. Great guy.
Oh, yeah. And I did because I had Snuka on a few of my shows. And back then they were a package. You couldn't have one without the other, brother.
Right.
So, Jeff was, they were a package deal. And Jeff is a good guy. I liked working with him. He was good. He's always easy to deal with. Same with Jimmy. Jimmy was really great to deal with. He was always good with the fans. Fans loved him. Going out with Jimmy was always a special treat because if you were out with Jimmy, you never bought a beer because everybody wanted to buy the Superfly beer. And when you're out with Jimmy and hanging with him, he was like, brother, if you buy the Superfly beer, you got to buy my brothers a beer too. So you end up drinking free all night.
Rick, one more question for Lou while we're talking about the old days here.
Go for it.
And I know we're going to catch up to the NAWA Jingle Brawl in a few moments. I was always under the impression that Manny Fernandez, and maybe it's something you said along the way, Manny Fernandez was kind of like a, I don't want to say mentor, but a very instrumental in your pro wrestling career. What would you like to say about Manny?
Yeah, Manny actually trained me, so to speak. But if you talk to a few people, they'll say he didn't do a very good job. But yeah, Manny trained me in the ring. And Manny is very old school, and when he trained somebody, he hurt you. It was pretty hardcore intent. He was a legit Navy SEAL, this guy, and so he brought it to you. And when people say Manny Fernandez works stiff, he works stiff, and he was good, but he did it for a reason. And I remember I was talking to Manny probably about a year ago, and we were just catching up on old times, and he said, I don't know why these guys have to slap their damn legs every time they kick somebody to make it sound like they hit. Just hit them. Just hit them. It'll make this sound when you connect.
Right.
I never had hit my leg to make a sound because I was hitting them and they were going down. So, it's just that old school mentality. And, he would also be helpful with me with handling the guys in the back if I was out front, because guys had tremendous respect for Manny. And so he would do some booking for me, some matchmaking and storyline angles and such. And, so he was kind of a mentor to me in that respect. Just kind of when the guys are trying to work me a little bit, he would step in and go, no. And he would teach me how to pick up on when guys were trying to work me. And, because the guys will work a promoter if they think they can. So, a guy would try to work you for X amount of money. He'd step in and go, nah, bullshit, man. You worked for this guy for half that last week. Working. You know what I mean? So he would help in that aspect too. But and that's that old school mentality, kind of really what we're bringing back with the NAWA. That the old school style of respect the wrestling. You look on. If it's okay, I'd like to jump into that a little bit.
Yeah.
You watch TV now, and you see 50 minutes of talking and 10 minutes of wrestling. We're flipping the switch. We're going to do something different. We're going to give the fans 50 minutes of wrestling and 10 minutes of talking. We're going to let the action in the ring speak instead of the guys on a microphone and the people in the back. So it's going to be different. It's going to be totally different. Going to bring that old school mentality back of wrestling, good guys, bad guys, and guys you really quite sure, are they good or are they bad? Did he really cheat? Did he really mean to cheat? Did he cheat? Or did he break that rule and not break that rule? Or is that rule really a rule? Who really knows for sure? And of course, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of today's high-flying action in there, because who's not a fan of watching a guy jump up in the air and do 15 somersaults, 20 foot up in the air? I like it, but right. I don't see it for 3 hours. I want to see somebody get their teeth knocked down their throat.
Right.
So that's what we're bringing back with NAWA.
Now, you guys, back in the day, you guys had worked with the living legend Bruno Sammartino as part of your commissioner.
Yes.
And you went from there. He was your commissioner, and then you went from there having the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy, as your commissioner. Will there be a commissioner role as part of this?
We're in contract negotiations with a few people, the Guardian of Chaos himself is amongst those negotiations. Tony Capone has been talking with a lot of candidates. We're being very selective on who we're going to handpick for this role. And because there's a lot of, you look at this card, there's a lot of personality, a lot of personality in that locker room, and a lot of personality in the core of the locker room and the roster. And whoever is going to be in there is going to be going to have his or her hands full. So it's going to be, we're going to announce the person soon. I don't know whether we're going to do it on Jingle Brawl or not, but we're gonna announce it as soon as we decide.
So, seeing that Tony's not here, maybe you can answer this question. How was it, the decision that Tony would get up and running the NAWA again and bring it back? Was it just bringing back old school style wrestling because that's what's needed today? Because there's just a lot of, it's hard to describe, a lot of nonsense going on in the world of professional wrestling, and it just needs a little bit more, variety. Or it was just the right time for.
We need blood and guts. We need blood and guts.
See, there you go. I myself am an old school guy and traditionalist when it comes to watching professional wrestling. See, I grew up in the 80s like Andy, and that's the stuff that I prefer was, territory type stuff and just old school style wrestling. Is that pretty much what made you guys want to come back? Was for bring back something like that, basically?
Yeah, it's funny. It started on believe it or not, on a Facebook message call one night. A couple of us, we were just talking about the old days, and somebody looped Tony in on a call, and he had been talking to Bobcat, Cindy Lynch, and she had put the bug in his ear about a year ago to restart again. And Primo and myself we've known each other for 30 years. He's like my brother. Gary Reno, same thing. We've always been talking about whether we're going to start up. At one time we were starting talking about starting up ESW again, and just to bring something back because wrestling sucks. It does. I'm just putting it out there. It sucks.
Right.
And the televised product is not great. It sucks. The fans, the internet fans bash it all the time. I bash it all the time. It's not what it was.
Right.
The old ECW. You guys know. I had an affiliation with Paul for a while, with ECW, and we can't bring that back. Not in today's day and age. As much as I would like to bring that, you can't do that. So we had this big conversation, and Tony got looped into it, and we're all talking, and we were talking about Slam Jam and how great that night was. And a couple of weeks later, Tony calls and says, he says, "Were you guys serious the other night?" We're like, "Yeah, I think everybody was." He says, "Because I've been thinking about it." And then he calls Primo, and Primo calls me, and then one thing led to another, and boom, that was July. And next thing you know, one thing leads to another, and here we are 5 days from now. We're launching a pay-per-view. In that short amount of time, it just boom.
Now, I want to ask you, Rick and I both have young kids, and I know they like wrestling. Is this the kind of pay-per-view where you can sit around with your kids, or is it the kind of pay-per-view where you get your buddies like the old ECW and say, "Hey, let's have some beers and watch the show"?
No. You get both. I'm gonna answer that both. I want you to get your buddies together, grab some beers, sit around a TV with your buddies and beers and your kids, and enjoy the show. There's not going to be any of the wild, crazy, New Jack jumping off the second tier balcony. Any of the crazy. It's going to be the old school, wrestling that we all liked from the 80s and the 90s. There's going to be some brawling. There's going to be some of the high flying, but it's going to be storytelling. It's going to be the old school good guy versus bad guy. Excitement. We've got some young talent that's hungry. We're pulling in some guys that have names, yeah. And a lot of our guys are, the grassroots, building them up into our own, building our own roster, and so we want to be able to showcase their talent because these guys are talented. So yeah, it's gonna be both.
Well, I'm gonna call my bookie in the morning. I'm putting my money on Gary Reno to win the Battle Royal.
Man,
that's the Italian sensation, baby.
Yeah,
I already made my prediction. I made it a couple months back with the who's winning the tag titles. So the House of Pain. That's just my that's the House of Pain. That's just my prediction.
Yeah, you're tight with those guys.
They're my buddies, and I just had them on last week, and I think I'm supposed to be talking to them again this week. I'm hoping to.
I love those guys.
Great guys.
Do.
Yeah.
I wish they were around when I was running because I'd have hired them in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
To work. No. Those guys they are the nicest guys.
Yep.
Out of the ring, they're just great guys. They have worked their asses off to help promote a show that, for a guy that they don't really know, they just know Tony's reputation, and they've just stepped up and really, really put their best foot forward.
Right.
Working their ass off in the gym. And their hard work and dedication is going to pay off for them down the road. I guarantee it.
Yeah, but the Slambinos might have something to say about that. I don't know.
Listen, Chiazzo couldn't even get a hold of the other one there. The other one's lost in the woods, and they're talking about magic and all this. I don't know. Stormy Lee's got her hands full with those two knuckleheads. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. You know, I'll be surprised if they show up with a full box of cannolis.
Well, Ricky, you got the card. Let's talk about some more.
I got
of
the
other
card
matches
sitting in front of me. I will be watching Saturday night. I purchased a pay-per-view. I want to see my buddies up there. And there will be a full review episode dedicated to the pay-per-view as well coming up.
That's awesome.
Probably a day or two after. And this weekend, there's a lot of wrestling going on this weekend between Ring of Honor, the NAWA, and the WWE putting on pay-per-views. So the NAWA is definitely the one I'm looking forward to the most.
And remember, at FITE TV, go to FITE TV to order the pay-per-view.
Yes.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So the women's championship, Roma Luchadora versus Lindsay Snow and Stormy Lee. We just talked about that, didn't we? How did that match come about? Who's the matchmaker, by the way? That's my other question. I'm sorry to.
Well, we've got a team. We do it by committee. Cindy Snow is doing a lot of the booking. Is doing the booking. But we have creatively, it's a team of us behind the scenes doing it. We've got a talented guy by the name of Kyle Bowman, who is doing our formal writing, if you will. Very talented guy. He's doing our press releases and like I said, our formal article writing and such. But we had to make some changes along the way to the card. But this is going to be the best match that we came up with. The versions that we've put out. This is going to be the best. I mean, you've got 3 different styles of wrestling coming together at a head. I mean, think about it. You've got Lindsay Snow, who's a powerhouse brawler, right? MMA style. You've got Stormy Lee. She's got a little bit of technical behind her. She's not been around the scene a whole lot, but you know what? She's got. She's been trained by one of the best. Frankie's trained her. I mean, he's one of the best out there. I mean, hands down. Now you got Roma Luchadora, who's the female heavyweight in Chile. She's got that lucha style. So you got 3 different styles of wrestling going on in that ring. And think about that. It's a perfect storm. You got 3 of these elements that come together, come to a head, and anything can happen. If I was a betting man, Rick, you're a betting man.
All right.
Who are you putting your money on?
I'd have to go with Roma. I really do, just judging by.
All right.
What?
Andy?
No? I'm going Lindsay Snow. She's bad, dude. She's bad.
She is. All right. Duly noted. It's going to be good.
So the Intercontinental Championship, Storm Thomas, and to be announced. Any hint?
Give us a clue, Lou. Give us a clue.
Yeah, come on. Breaking news. Let's get some breaking news here.
Well, let's put it this way. Another one of my mentors, is the ECW guy. We've been known to do surprises. And Tony has put, think of Slam Jam. Went back in '99. What was the biggest surprise he's ever done? Right?
Shane Douglas?
Shane Douglas under the hood.
Yep.
So let's put it this way. Think of the surprises I've pulled off on shows. Think of the surprises Tony's pulled off on shows. Just imagine the surprises that the 2 of us with our heads together can pull off. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
So
the Masked Singer, their security doesn't have the security we have to cover up the surprises we've got. Let's put it that way.
Could it be Dr. Ken?
It could be Leslie Chow. Who knows?
There you go.
So you had a CCW Spotlight match, Cha Cha Charlie and the Jackal against Venetius and Ariel Levy. I actually interviewed Venetius probably 6-7 months ago. Really nice dude. Like he's I'm looking forward to this match. I have seen Cha Cha and Charlie. I've seen Charlie in the past as well. This should be a really good match. I do watch the Coastal Championship Wrestling has a YouTube series that comes out like once a week. It's pretty interesting. They put on a lot of Pablo Marquez and his students put on a pretty good show.
Yeah, Pablo's a great guy. I remember him. He was back up in our area for a long time ago, and he's just a smart guy. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I mean, you talk about the it factor when it comes to knowing the business. He's one of those guys, and the way he trains the students, just hands down, one of the best there is as far as trainers go. And you're right. This is one of the matches that I'm gonna stop when I'm doing whatever it is that at that point and go, and I'm gonna mark out and watch it.
Gangrel against was it Cahagas?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I think Andy's interested in this match.
Big time.
Yeah.
Cahagas, man, he's bad.
Cahagas. I'm sorry, I mispronounced. Johnny Swinger and Harry Smith. That should be an interesting match. I don't know, how did that one come together? Because they work two different styles.
They do. They do, and this is kind of and again, one of those things where you're going to bring two different styles together and give the fans something that they haven't seen. Because they're used to seeing cookie cutter on Monday nights. Everybody looks the same on Monday night.
Right.
I mean, you get guys getting sent down because they need to learn how to work. Serious?
Well, didn't they just send back Keith Lee?
Yeah.
And I'm just like that. And to be a mark, I'm going to tell you, and I've said this to Andy a million times. That guy's one of my favorite guys today, and it's one of the reasons why I, but it's every time somebody goes to the main roster, it's like they kind of ruin that character or ruin that that performer. So I don't even, I've pretty much given up on watching Raw and SmackDown. I kind of read about it and then I'll record it and then skip around. But I'll watch NXT in its entirety. But it's just a shame because that guy has been around for God knows how long. He knows what he's doing.
Rick's an Impact guy. He likes Impact.
I do watch Impact for certain guys.
Yeah, I've been getting back into Impact. I watch NXT. I fast forward through a lot of AEW myself.
I do like AEW. I talk about it, once a week here, and it was much needed to bring something like that into the mainstream. It was like a breath of fresh air. I don't agree. There's a lot of kinks that need to be worked out. I'm not going to say it. It's far from a perfect product, but they have a pretty good roster. There's definitely guys I wish, I could fast forward through at times. But it's, like I said, there's a lot of kinks that need to be worked out. It's far from perfect, but it's a pretty decent, it's much needed to get something on TV to give the fans an alternative from just Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, it is. And it filled that void, and now we're going to give them something else to look at.
I'm looking forward to that.
And January 7th, we got our weekly show coming on FITE TV on Thursday nights. Nice. So that's going to be interesting. So you'll have wrestling on Monday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night and Friday night. Regular weekly series.
Now, what's your full commentary team? I see you just signed Tony T.
Yep, Tony T.
Lead commentator.
Yeah, and we've got a special guest color commentator coming in Saturday night. You may have heard of him. He was part of a tag team called the Baldies. A guy by the name of Tony DeVito.
Oh yeah. I know him. He's worked this area for many years, and prior to ECW as well. So
yeah. Tony's a great guy. He's coming in to do some guest commentating and such for us.
Very nice.
Yeah, it'd be a little reunion for us there. It's gonna be It's going to be a hell of a night, guys. It's going to be a hell of a night.
And then looking forward beyond the show this weekend, you guys already have your next two shows booked, and I believe they're in Raleigh, North Carolina, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, Raleigh has been phenomenal with us. Welcomed us with open arms in that arena in the state. They just that's a state just like it just reeks of pro wrestling. So, I mean, it just seemed to make sense to run a bunch of shows there. It's a nice arena, beautiful arena, and we're going to be home basing there for a few months, and then hopefully, if things go well, and this virus pandemic thing, whatever's going on, whatever you want to call it, finally breaks up, we'll be coming back into New York late spring, early summer.
I heard some rumblings about working in Connecticut. Was that ever a thing, or was?
Yeah, initially we were thinking about doing some work in Connecticut, but it just didn't work out for either side.
Okay.
It just didn't. So it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
So you move on. And,
another question for you too. NAWA was traditionally a Northeastern federation or promotion. It's very interesting to me that you guys, now I know we're in the pandemic era too, and Florida is a little more accepting of live events. But was that a factor in why you chose Florida for this event?
Yeah, it really was, to be honest. We had some New York is shut down.
Right.
Deep into 2021. Tony's a New York guy. I'm a New York guy. All of us, in the front office of New York guys, even though we may not live in New York or from New York. So, it's our home. It's where we were born and raised. So we're New York guys. And we just, we wanted to go there. I mean, Slam Jam, it's the, it's that's our history. So that's why we wanted to start in New York, but we just couldn't. So we came to Florida. We had a couple other buildings that we were looking at, and they didn't work out. So we went to the Ocean Center. We just thought of the history of the Ocean Center with wrestling. It just made sense. And I was a little skeptical at first with going to a building that size, but then I'm like, yeah, it's going to be cool. It's got history. Then tickets started to sell, and the pay-per-view started to sell, and the excitement keeps building and building and building. And now it's like you look at the tickets. We have very few premier seats left, and it's just like amazing. It's just really popping.
Now, what's max capacity in that building with this whole COVID environment?
I think it's around 2,200.
Okay.
Yeah, 2,200. It's the same thing they had for the boxing event that they had in there. And it's all set up. It's COVID friendly. There's such a term. Oxymoron, right?
It's unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing straight COVID precautions. Everybody is required to be masked while they're in the building. The seating is arranged as such, blocks of 2 or blocks of 4. We have rows in between, rows sectioned off so they can't sit there. And we had extra security we had to pay for to make sure that during the event, people don't try to move down and move around, and masks are maintained and all that. So we're really truly going the extra step to make it safe for the fan. And we just want, we wanted to do it.
Right.
Not that we had to do it, we just wanted to go that extra step to make it safe. And even for the wrestlers, except for the time that they're in the ring, everybody's going to have a mask on in the back.
Right. Andy, do you have anything else?
No, I just want to say it's been years since I've seen Lou, and I was a fanboy. Lou doesn't even know who I am, other than Facebook now. But man, Lou, you look great.
Oh, thanks.
you haven't aged a day. Actually, you might have gone backwards a couple years. I don't know.
No, that's not. I'm shit. I'm a fat old guy now, man.
And listen, you got to hook us up so we can get Big Primo on here sometime, man.
Yeah, I will. Listen, you want to get the big guy on here? I can get him on here. He's
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he's a little under the weather right now, but once this all clears out, but we got the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about too, if you don't mind, is we got this Hercules Cup. We're honoring Herc.
Can I interject for a second?
Sure.
Because you and I had a little exchange on Messenger today, and I told you, thanks to you, I got to meet Hercules. Not just at your shows, but you guys did an in-store appearance at a local vitamin store right next to the grocery store I worked at many years ago. And how cool is it to walk in there and see big, giant Hercules just hanging out, laughing and joking? And I appreciate that. And we were going to actually talk about using that as the segue. So even though you beat me to the punch, let's go with it.
Yeah. Herc was one of a kind, truly one of a kind, in and out of the ring. He was, I didn't look at him as as one of the boys. He was like a brother to me. He was a friend. I wish Tony had made it, but Tony knew him a lot better than I did, because he worked a lot more closer with Tony and a lot more shows. But Herc was, I missed those calls with Herc. He called me up, just random. I get a random call, my phone would ring. This is back before these stupid cell phones and all that. It would be like 1 o'clock in the morning, my phone would ring, wake the whole damn house up. And I answer the phone. I hear this gravelly voice. "Hello, it's Ray." I'm like, "What's up, Herc?" "Hey, when's the next show?" I rattle off the date. He's like, "All right, kids are driving me nuts, Lou." He said, I need a weekend." I'm like, "Okay." It's like, I go and I get him. First thing he would say, as soon as he got into the car, "Oh, man, let's get this over with. I miss my kids. I miss my kids." He loved his kids. We all have kids, right? We all love our kids.
Oh yeah.
Herc loved his kids so much. He was like the ultimate family guy. He just loved the kids. And the other thing he would say is, "What town are we going to?" And I'd remind him where we're going, and he'd say, "All right, let's go to the pediatric hospital." No matter what time. That was Herc. He'd want to go in, visit all the kids in the hospital, sign stuff, take pictures with them, hang with the nurses, sign their stuff, take pictures with them, thank all the docs. That was just Herc. He had, his heart was as big as he was. He was all heart. And, the fact that we're doing this for him on Saturday is just really mind blowing. And, his wife and kids are going to be there.
Ooh, cool.
Nice. You guys are also having a special tribute to Bruiser Brody that evening, correct?
Yeah. And, Bruiser is one of these guys that people seem to forget about, because he was not really, he just, in my opinion, missed the mainstream.
Right.
And Vince will never recognize him.
Well, it's funny that you said that, because when he, what is it, last year's Hall of Fame, they just put him in through the Legends wing. That didn't even have like a ceremony for him or a speech for him. They just showed his face on the screen, just kind of skipped right by him. And I was just like, for someone of that caliber, he should have gotten the whole deal. Somebody out there did a speech tribute to his wife. Kids should have been involved. I couldn't believe that, because growing up, this guy was a superstar to me. You know what I mean? Watching him at World Class and Florida and such.
Yeah, what's NAWA gonna do for Brody?
We're gonna honor him with a little ceremony. Tony's got something up his sleeve for it. I can't get into too much detail right now because that'll unveil too much of the surprise behind the curtain, so to speak. But tune in Saturday night, and all will be revealed. I guarantee it'll be impactful on all fronts with both. And with Herc, we're doing the Herc Cup,
Right.
which ties into the crowning of our first NAWA heavyweight champion, of the resurgence of the NAWA. So that is going to be something to be a sight to be seen as well.
That's going to be part of a battle royal to crown the new champion. So that I'm looking forward. That I'm really looking forward to. So it's this Saturday night. What time is it? 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 7 Eastern. Got about eight action-packed matches. A couple of tributes in there, and it's going to be a show for the ages, as they say. I guarantee it. It's going to be a good one, guys. It's going to be a good one.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
It's
looking
exciting.
forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
All right, that's this Saturday, 7 p.m. on FITE. Check them out on Facebook, Twitter. There's a YouTube channel with lots of content already up there. Classic content as well.
Yeah, and our website, nawawrestling.com. It's a website we have. It's evolving. And every Thursday at 8 is our podcast, The Wrestling Connection, hosted by the Godfather Tony Capone and Chaz Moretti. Every week they have a different guest on, just talking about wrestling. This week is going to be live from the Ocean Center.
Awesome. All right, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Been an honor. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.